Hey everyone, this is Norad, and today I wanted to show you my Orcust deck list that I've been using in Duel Links. This is pure Orcust with Mermaid, so no Babel. Early data for now has shown that Mermaid has been more successful at tournaments. Um, we'll see if that changes with more consistent Babel builds, but for now the consistent Mermaid approach has been proven to be more effective. Now, not everyone plays it pure. These mermaid builds are not all pure. Some play Onomat, some play Crystal Beast, some play Gandora, which I think is the weakest out of all of them. But I decided to go with the pure version because I like the most. It's the most flexible in its text, and you can adapt it to the metagame. And this particular version also can counter DD Crow, which has been popping up, to counter this specific deck. Now, I have decided for the one card stars, as you know from the Mermaid build, if you have seen some, you only need a card that puts two bodies on the board, so there are multiple of those. I decided to go with Dotscaper and with Neospace Connector for a very specific reason. You will see that in the replays as well, but I can talk over it for a bit. You can also use Phantom Skyblaster, which is free to play, just like puts out a token. Very efficient in doing just two bodies on the board, needs no extra deck setup, no main deck setup. You can go with Ibli even to lock your opponent. I actually had Ibli in here before instead of the second Nightmare, but as more and more people start playing the Mermaid build, Ibli becomes way worse because giving your opponent Ibli just means they have a 0-card Orcust combo now, so you don't want to do that. If you have already 3 Phantom Skyblaster in the deck and you want more of the same, the next best thing would be Mecha Phantom Beast Tetherwolf, which also just summons a token on summon, but this is an ultra rare from an old box, so not exactly cheap. Then there is Scrap Recycle, which is also a 1-card Orcust combo, even without using Mermaid, but you have to play World Legacy World 1 for that, which is an extra break for that. So we decided not to do that. So why did I decide to go with Dotscaper and Neospace Connector? Now, Neospace Connector on summon can get you a Neospace Gen out of your deck, which would be Aqua-Dolphin. There's an extra brick in the deck, but it is worth it. You will see it in a replay. Aqua-Dolphin, once per turn, you can discard a card, look at your opponent's hand, and if there is a monster with lower or equal attack to the highest monster on the field, you can destroy it and inflict 500 damage. If not, you take 500. Now, why is this so good? You can look at your opponent's hand and you can rip out their starter, their DD Crow, and the nice thing about it is you do this before you go into all the Orcust stuff, so you can rip the DD Crow before it matters, unless your Dolphin discard is Harper. Then they can just chain the DD Crow to the Aqua-Dolphin effect. Furthermore, you can tribute the Neospace Connector to revive an Aqua-Dolphin from the grave. This is also important for the combos later. Now, why do I run Dotscaper? Because Dotscaper also requires the Link Disciple in the extra deck, because what you do is normal summon Dotscaper, link it away into Link Disciple, or Link Karibo, doesn't matter. Then you have 2 bodies and you can go into the Nightmare combo. So why do I decide to use the extra deck slot just to run Dotscaper instead of just going Skyblaster? Because Dotscaper also resurrects itself when it's discarded from hand. So what you can do is you can discard the Dotscaper for Aqua-Dolphin and you get it back. Or you discard it for Link Slayer and you get it back. So it's very cost efficient in that way, and we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slots that require this discard. Plus we also have the Mermaid and the Phoenix, also require discard, Unicorn as well. So you just get the free body as well, and for a very specific line with Aqua-Dolphin, it is required. Also, going second, you can special summon Link Slayer, discard the Dotscaper to pop a card, and then Dotscaper comes back, and then you have 2 monsters on board and go full Orcust combo. That's why I like the Dotscaper. You can definitely cut those for just like Skyblaster if you want, but I think if you run 2 of these discard outlets, it just like becomes too good not to use. Then we just go with 3 Cosmic Cyclone, because going second is one of the weaker points of Orcust in general. We have Switcheroo to complement that, so we can Cyclone a card, shuffle back Aqua-Dolphin or Nightmare or whatever is not helping us right now, and draw a new card and hopefully find more back row removal or a starter. We have the one Orcust return just as an alternate Galatea target. 2 Compulse as our favorite back row. You can definitely go with Ice Dragon's Prison, which is way stronger in the mirror. I just like Compulse because it's very, very flexible. And then you have Orcust Release, you have to have this because it's part of the main combo. For the extra deck, I run 2 Dingirsu. This should be 1 Dingirsu, 2 Galatea, but at the moment I only own 1 Galatea, so I've been playing with 1. The second Galatea helps with your grind game because you want to, because you don't run World Wand, you want to recycle your symbol skeleton, so when you use your Dingirsu to send a card of your opponent, the symbol skeleton will be stuck in the banished zone and you somehow want to get back. So just like any Orcust plus any monster can go into Galatea, and then Galatea can just shuffle that back. We run the Unicorn just for more bot breaking capabilities. We run the Mermaid, of course. We run Longirsu just as an option. It can recycle back your banished Orcust cards, and it can also remove stuff. And it cannot attack the turn it removed stuff, but you can just slap an Dingirsu on top of it, and that's fine. We run Phoenix as our Nightmare of choice. Just dealing with back row is good. And we have Link Disciple for the Dotscaper. This can also be Linkuribo if you have unlocked it. Doesn't matter. You never use this effect. Maybe Linkuribo comes up. I don't know when, but maybe. So let's get into some replays. As you just saw, I am still in Platinum. That's because it's the start of the month. But if you look, I have not lost the game with this here. So pretty decent deck list. Yeah, so let's start off with replay. Which one? I think it's this one. I think this one is a mirror match, and I go first, and just shows off the normal combo. Maybe a bit of grind game also. I think I mess up later in the OTK line, but I still find it. So we go first, and our hand is Neospace, Symbol Skeleton, Dotscaper, Compulse. Now here we have the Symbol Skeleton, so we can't use the Dotscaper as discard. We want to discard the symbol, although we go into Mermaid anyway, so we can discard both. Either way, we start off with the Neospace connector, Special Summon Dolphin, Dolphin effect, discard the Dotscaper, and we look at the hand and we see they have Babel, Cosmic, Harpora, and Return. Now, looking at this hand, we know they have 1 out for our back row. So since we used 1 discard here, and we need 1 discard for the Mermaid, we cannot go for the double Dolphin line here, because that would mean we discard our Compulse, and the only back row will be the Orcust card, which they will Cosmic Cyclone, just to rip their Orcust Harpora, which is then in the grave. So we just say, okay, let them have the return on the Harpora. But we saw their hand, we know there's a Cosmic, we know there's a Babel, we know what to expect. So just a small bonus here. We get the Dotscaper back. Go into Nightmare Phoenix. You tribute the Neospace connector. Make sure you do this before you activate any Orcust effective grave, because Aqua-Dolphin is a water, so you cannot get it back. I don't want to reuse it here. I just did this so we have a monster in defense, so they cannot just swing over this measly 800 attack and just that. So Phoenix goes into Mermaid. Mermaid discard. You should know that line. Go into Galatea. Nightmare sends Harpora. Harpora specials out the second Nightmare. Galatea shuffles back. Sets the release. Dingirsu in defense mode. Reattach to Harpora and reset. So they will obviously start off by cycloning the release. Go for Babel. Activate Return. We all know this, what's going to happen. They draw into Scrap Recycler and send Bombard. So special summon the Nightmare from hand and link into Galatea. Now, we decided, even though we know they still have the Harpora in hand and they can go into Galatea after this, we still decide to use the Compulse here, because they could just slap the Dingirsu on top and then we would have to chain the Compulse on the Dingirsu, which will then mean they can send something else. So let's do this. They change their effects because they have Babel Hunter on. So they set a return, which they already used, so this is not relevant to us. They send a Symbol Skeleton, which is the second body that I mentioned before. They special summon Brass Bombard, go to Linkoribo, so the brass is in the grave to revive with the skeleton, and they go back into Galatea. So the compulse just made them use more resources, which is what I want to do here, because the thing is, I am ahead in the grind game right now. All I want to do is just not die. Right? They have a return set here, which they can't use, and they have the Babel with no grind game in the grave, especially since they use the Dingirsu here to send something, so they don't have any Orcust cards to actually keep playing the game. They get rid of our Dingirsu and our Dolphin, but that's it. And we know this is not an interaction, so we can just do what we want to do here. So I go into Galatea. I do this here because I have 2 Dingirsu in my deck. So I can just go into Galatea. I go into Longirsu. I use Harporos, special summon Orcust Nightmare. This is where I messed up. I could have just used the Galatea to go into Dingirsu, get rid of this Dingirsu and swing for game, but I just went cocky. In the end, it all works out. So use Longirsu, get rid of the Dingirsu, go into our own Dingirsu, remove their back row for the end, use return, tribute our Nightmare, and draw into lethal. We have the Cyclone for the Babel anyway, so we would have won the grind game, but I will also go for the guaranteed lethal, not just VM. So that's just a normal go first. The next replay is against heroes, and just wanted to show you the added benefit of Aqua-Dolphin, even though you don't rip a card off the hand. Knowing what your opponent has in hand can also be quite valuable. So go first again. As you can see on the win streak, I'm not doing these in order, I just want to do them in the best order for educational purposes. So as you can see, we have the Aqua-Dolphin in hand already, which is sad because now we go -1 on the summon, but it's fine. We use the Aqua-Dolphin, discard the Nightmare, and we see their hand, which is Crackdown, Liquid Soldier, Cosmic, and Super Poly. So we know they don't have a Neos to summon, but they have a Super Poly, and we have the Crackdown, but we have the Cyclone for that anyway. And then they have the Cyclone, which will probably get rid of our background. So we take 500 here. Orcust Nightmare sends Harpora specials symbol, goes into Galatea. Galatea shuffles back the Nightmare, sets our trap. And I think here I had to go into Longirsu, so I have another machine on board. Symbol Skeleton brings back Galatea. Put Dingirsu on top of Galatea. Reattach the symbol, set the Cosmic, and let them play. They top deck into Stratos, and I know they have Super Poly here. So they activate Stratos effect, and I immediately shotgun the Orchestrated Release here. Why do I do that? Because if I pass priority here, they can chain the Super Poly, discard a card, and there's Stratos plus one of my Dark Monsters will go into an Elemental Hero. My trap will be dead, and they can go for whatever they want to do. Now, if I do this, I can tribute 2 Machine Monster for cost. So, since I tributed 2 for cost, they cannot chain the Super Poly here because there is no monster left on my field. I target Dingirsu, the chain resolves, they add Neos, which is a normal summon, I don't care about that, and now the Dingirsu activates to send. If they here chain the Super Poly, they will fuse with my Dingirsu, get rid of 1 card in hand, and then my Dingirsu, which doesn't target, resolves and will send whatever they fusion summon into to the grave. So it does not make sense to Super Poly here, and rightfully so, the opponent just lets this go through. They set 2 cards. I know one of these is a Crackdown, so I can just keep the Cosmic for that. The other one, I don't know what it is. It could be a bluff Super Poly. It could be something they top decked. So we go for Symbol Skeleton, for Longirsu. Longirsu. We just shuffle these back because we know we're going to go into a second Dingirsu with this. So we just decided to get some of our resources back, especially the Symbol Skeleton. Since we are going to go into Dingirsu to send a card and not reattach the Symbol Skeleton, we would lose some of our grind gain. So we go into Dingirsu, activate the effect, send, and we hit a Cosmic Cyclone. Now, we know this is Crackdown, so we just Cosmic Cyclone it. If they chain it, it will just like one of the Ningirsus will swap possession and then go back, so it doesn't really matter. And this is just lethal on board. We just switch a rule here for BM. And that's game. Now, the next replay is going second replay, just to show off a bit of Link Slayer plays, because I have been liking that card a lot in pure Orcust. So, it's against Maximilian Pegasus. The second, and they're on 30 cards. Our hand is full of monsters, but we have Link Slayer and Dotscaper, so I am pretty confident right now going second. Turns out they're magnets. Go Delta, send one, set 3. Okay, I'm going to special summon Link Slayer. They're going to Floodgate Trapple it immediately. Now, I still have my normal summons, so I have the option to go either Neo Space Connector, Dotscaper, or Link Slayer, which I will do here. I just tribute summon the next Link Slayer, which forces them to use the other back row. If they did not do that, I would have Link Slayer, discard these two, pop both back row. Even if they flip this down on the chain, I would give the Dotscaper back and the Orcust Nightmare in the grave, and the Orcust Nightmare can then send the Harp and I can go into Orcust place. So they flip this down rightfully, and in the end phase they go Super Body Force Unite. Beta adds Gamma, and then Beta goes into another Delta and sends Alpha. So they have this setup now. I think they misplayed here actually. They could have added Alpha, sent Gamma, and then they normal summon Alpha and special summon Berserker, which I think would have been lethal. But they just decide to put both to defense, normal summon Gamma. They forgot what defense my Link Slayer had. So we flip it up again, use the effect. There's only one back row, so we ditch the Orcust Nightmare. We go near Space Connector, get a body here. And the interesting part comes here, and that's how we get rid of all of these 3 bodies and OTK as well. So we go into Nightmare Phoenix and into Nightmare. Oh, yeah, I should have gone into Unicorn directly. I don't know. I think I wanted to go for the Mermaid Lamb, but I was like, actually, Unicorn is better. Because I can discard the Dotscaper, shuffle this one back. This is important because I want to go Longirsu in this zone, which will point to these 2 zones. And if they dodge with Gamma, I can still send Delta. So this one was the one I had to shuffle back with Nightmare Unicorn. So Dotscaper comes back, Orcust Nightmare, sends Horror, Horror specials, Symbol Skeleton, we go into Galatea. Galatea shuffles, we set Release, we go into Longirsu, Symbol Skeleton gets back Galatea, and they just decide to chain the Gamma. Okay. So we get Galatea back, and then we use the Longirsu, and this is why we did this in this position, so we can send this, and then we use that Longirsu because it cannot attack, go into Dingirsu, send the last one, and now we have lethal on board, plus 2 targets for release, plus the Compulse still in our hand. Now, for the last replay, we have Want a Girlfriend, Please. So, this one is the funnest replay of them all. So, we're up against Neutral. And we go first. And they are the Pendulum Allies deck, not Phantomons. So, our hand is double Space Connector, Dotscaper, Cosmic. So this is the Neo Space Dotscaper line. This time I actually did it, because you'll see why. What you usually do is you use the first effect to see what's in their hand, and then you can decide is your second card in hand, because we have to go into Mermaid combo, right? So that means both our Cosmic and our Neospace are going to be gone. And with the first discard, first Dolphin effect, we just want to probe what's in their hand and is it more important than the Cosmic Cyclone in this case. So we look at their hand and we see a Book of Moon, a Noble Dragon Magician, a Mystical Space Typhoon, and an Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. Now, MST does nothing against our deck because we're in the Girsu. Book of Moon we don't really care about because we have a trap card that just tributes machines for cost. And yeah, so Noble Dragon has 700 attack, which is already lower than Neospace Connector, so we can already rip that out of their hand. Now, because their skill means they can take the Odd Eyes, put them on top of the extra deck, and then put out 2 scales, that means that the Odd Eyes is worth more than the Cosmic Cyclone, because the Cosmic Cyclone will just remove a scale, right? So why not just like remove both of them? So Dotscaper comes back, and you link off the Dolphin with a Dotscaper. That's important because the Aqua-Dolphin is once per turn per copy, so you need to get it to the grave and then get it back. So you link into Mermaid, get rid of the Space Connector, and now we have to use the other Space Connector before we dot lock ourselves, and we go to the Aqua-Dolphin. Well, you know this whole spiel. We go into Galatea, we send Harp Horror specials, Galatea gets us the trap, and now we go into Ningirsu, into defense mode, reattach to Harp Horror, and now the Ningirsu is on board, which has 2600 attack, which is higher than the Odd Eyes in their hand. So now we can use our last card in hand, look at their hand again, rip the Odd Eyes, and now the opponent can start the game with 2 cards in hand and 3000 life points. Have fun. They start off with the MST, obviously on the back row, but we can just do Ningirsu pop, and they have no place, obviously, because we just ripped them. We just Ningirsu to remove the back row and take a scoop, because this is gonna be lethal. So that's the replays. You see the deck list again on the screen on the right. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what Orcust variant have you been playing. What do you think of this variant? Do you like the Dotscaper? Would you give up the extra deck slot for the Dotscaper options or not? Do you like the other starters more? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.